Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to go ahead and start the disassembly on the 60cc Bridgestone motor, the Rockford Tora. I thought, well, let's just go ahead and knock one out so we can kind of see what we're up against. And I'm learning, you're learning, everybody's learning on this one because I've never been into one. So we're gonna take it apart and see what, hopefully nothing's broke, and we can just put some bearings and seals in it and put it back together. But we've got to get in there to see. So let's go ahead and do that. Right here it is. Come on, let's look at it. Okay, I don't think there's any oil in it, but I've got a pan under it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over on its side here, and we're going to take a look at the stator and the flywheel, get this side kind of disassembled, then we'll flip it over and do the other side. And he's already pulled the side cases off to have them vapor blasted, so that's why that stuff is not there. You know, it's we've got the carburetor and the cover, clutch mechanism, all that stuff is in the side case. So we'll just be taking this one off and getting into the clutch area. But first, we're going to start over here. So the first thing we need to do is just get that off of there. So let me get set up for that, and we'll pop that off. Okay, nothing out of the ordinary there, but it's probably been on there a good long time. It looks like a normal Suzuki, Hidaka, whatever, just Yamaha. Yep, looks like the same thing. The threads are pretty corroded. Well, let me maybe get in there with a wire brush. Yeah, let's just get in there and clean those threads up a little bit. It's looking better. We'll just put a little bit of Crow oil in there on those threads. Maybe that'll leach around there to make it a little bit easier to get that in. We sure want to get the puller, as many threads in there as we can. Oh yeah, that's threading a lot better. You always want to get as many in there as you can. I didn't notice a lock washer or anything in there. No washer, no lock washer. Let's see, so that's also 17, it is, all right. Okay, let's see if we can get it off of there. You always want to get as many threads in there as you can, because they will pull. They're really a fine thread. So if you got one or two threads started, it can pull pretty easy. There, felt like it popped. Yep. Oh, you know, that looks like that's been cut off. I think the threads were damaged and they cut it off. That's why there wasn't any washer in there. Let me get another camera and we'll get a little closer look at it. Okay, let's take a look at this. We've got quite a bit of corrosion on the taper. And you can see here, let me get you a little closer. You can see the dimple, I believe, right here, what's left of it. That's the bottom of the dimple that they put in there to manufacture it, and later on to set your run out. And you can see that looks like they just took a hacksaw and went along here like this and kind of left that little tail right there. So that's why there wasn't any washers under it. Let me get you over here and we'll take a look at one that has not been messed with. Let me get it situated. Okay, you can see here we've got, looks like a lock washer behind it here, and there's a nut on there, and it's kind of flush with the end of the shaft. We weren't that way with this one we're taking apart. So it's definitely been, you can see there also see how deep the dimple is on the end. Okay, I think you can see it better there now. And let me get you back over to the other one. There you can see that one. And again, the little tail right there where they didn't quite cut it through with the hacksaw and just probably broke it off from there. And there's a side view of it. So it's definitely been cut off. That's sad. Usually you can repair those, you know, if they're mushroomed a little bit, you can repair those in the lathe and just kind of rethread it, chase it a little bit, turn those down, or you can do it with a file. Just kind of turn the mushroom off and try to get your die square on the end of it and rethread it. You don't have to cut them off, but that one's ruined. I've gone in before and I've cut these off right here at the base, and then you just go back in and you drill a hole down the middle of it, make a new threaded stud here, press it in. I've got a couple videos where I've done that on different, I think maybe Yamahas, I don't know. But if they're real bad, you've got to do that. And I press those in with an interference fit into the taper area. And sometimes I have to recut the keyway hole, because now it'll be a little not as deep. This one looks like it'd probably be all right though. And then I drill it across this way and pin it. But don't know what we're going to do with this one. Right now we're just kind of looking at it and seeing what we can find. So let's move on. Okay, we've got one head of the screw here that's pretty messed up, so we'll kind of get that seated in there so maybe we can get it out without having to drill it. Yep, oh, that just came right out. Usually doesn't go that good for me. I usually end up having to drill one or two out. Points, of course, are burnt. This is probably an original condenser, so all those things would probably need to be repaired or replaced. Coils right now are looking okay. I don't see any broken or smashed. We've just got a 2-wire setup there. And looks like we've had some leaking around the crankshaft there. Got a few bugs in there. Stink bugs. Okay, so let me get most of that I can cleaned up out of there. And we've got some of these Phillips screws that have a lot of dirt impacted, so we'll try to get those cleaned out so we've got a better chance of getting them out without incident. And I guess I can go ahead and bend this over and get that loosened up. I'm going to try to hold on to that sprocket. Yeah, okay. Usually they're not too bad. You sure don't want to try to hold on to it with your fingers though. Okay, another thing I'm seeing is this shaft right here. I'll have to get the other camera so we can show you what I'm talking about there, but I see a lot of probably chain damage. So if you try to drive this thing through, which eventually we'll have to, you're just going to tear the crap up out of the case. So let me get it flipped back up, and then we'll get the other camera and take a peek at that. As you can see, we've got a lot of the same issues with the crankshaft. A lot of rust on there, and that's got to go through the seal. And not that we're real worried about the existing seal. This is going to tear on me again, I can tell. But when we get it out of there, we'll be able to take care of this a little bit better. But there again, you can see where they've cut it off. That's just so sad when folks do that. They're just trying to get it going again. I know, I was a kid. You know, I'd take it to my dad and he'd say, well, we're gonna have to do some major repair there. He said, ah, Dad, I just want to get it going again. I want to ride. And that's the way kids are. You know, that's they just don't understand. They just want to have fun. So that's what happens. Okay, so let's, we may have to take, I think we've got to take this off, but that's probably the shift drum. So let's leave it in there until we get ready to split the cases. So we'll just go ahead and flip it over this way and go ahead and take care of the clutch side now. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop these screws. He didn't have them all in there. Like I said, he did all this, the vapor honing and prepping this stuff so it wouldn't be a big issue for me. I don't have that, I don't have the vapor honing or any other, I've got just bead blasting capability. That's all I've got. So he was trying to take care of stuff that I couldn't do. I think that's it. Let me get my plastic hammer. Looks like we've got a washer right here, probably for the Kickstarter. Everything else looks really good in there, what I can see right now. A little different setup as far as the clutch goes. Looks like the Kickstarter goes into the case, so we'll have to mess with that. Here's our seal for the rotary valve, you know, the carb air going into the rotary valve. So I think our first thing we're going to do is get rid of that bug right there. And then we'll start pulling the clutch apart. Okay, this is a 9mm. A year ago I wouldn't have had one. I had to buy this one for something, I think it was on the, maybe the YL1 Yamaha. Okay, so we got all those broke loose. I've just never had too much need for a 9mm. Okay. And you see we've got a ball here. probably captured in there with yeah, something. Unless it's, you know, maybe it's like tack welded or something, you know, interference welded. I think we can pull these plates out. Nope, got to pull it off. These have got they've got a lip on it, so we can't get to it that way. We've got to pull the hub off. And you get a snap ring plier for that. Okay, in there. Okay, got that. And we got a wavy washer right here. Oh, okay. Pull one piece out at a time. Okay, there's the little hook that I was telling you about, so the plates won't go past that. Okay, now we should be able to pull our plates out, I think. And we only have, it's like 3 fiber and 3 steel, and this outside one is about twice as thick as these two. So let's see. These are, yeah, not stuck as much as I thought they would be. Okay. So all of them are loose. This one here, the outside one, is the thick one. And here we've got a washer with a needle bearing in it. There's the bottom of the cage. Oh, this is different. May have to see, I'm not seeing any alignment. Arrows or anything. Looks like we've got 2. We've got a thrust washer with bearings and a thrust washer without. Thrust washer without goes towards the clutch hub. I think I'm going to have to pull the primary first, looks like maybe. So is that left-handed, or do we know? Okay, get my penny in here. It's pretty tight. It's not wanting to go that way. Okay, there we go. Must be left hand. Oh no, that's right. That's right. No, it isn't. It's left-handed thread. We've got a washer under there. get a magnet, see if I can get that out of there. There we go. And it's a wavy washer also. Actually, yeah, it's kind of a wavy one. It's probably more a Belleville than it is a wavy. All right, let me see if I can get something to pry up on that a little bit. Be gentle with it here. Sure not wanting to start up, is it? Okay, I've got a puller set up here. Yeah, it didn't take much. I just did that by hand. It's close enough tolerance, evidently, so that it just doesn't want you to be able to pull it up with a screwdriver like I was trying to do. All right. See, does this come off now? I think something might be kind of boogered up right there, trying to. A burr or something. I don't see anything on the bottom, so I may have to get a puller for it also. Let me see what I can find. Okay, yeah, it doesn't take much. There's something that maybe a burr or something. Everything just pulls by hand. Oh boy, look at here. Looks like the clutch has been rubbing on that for a while. It's pulled the threads out. This was just laying there. So it looks like it's supposed to screw in here. So that's no good. And these pull out, just like a lot of them, the Yamahas do too. This one here is a different one that goes in this hole, just like that. But I don't know, we'll have to get this out and see what the threads look like in there. But this and the primary crankshaft here, I don't see anything right offhand, but you know, it just felt like there was a burr or something. Yeah, you can see here where that's been rubbing on this piece right here for quite a while. Wouldn't have lasted much longer. Probably wasn't shifting very good either. Okay, let's just take a look at that thing again, a little closer up. I think you can see it there better than me trying to hold it. This is probably usable, but that screw, I don't know whether it's a special thing. It may just be a regular screw. I'm kind of looking down the throat of that thing and it doesn't look too bad. Maybe before we take that apart, I'll try to chase that. Okay, I've got a 5mm 70, I think it is. Oh yeah, goes right in there. no problem. So that's one of those areas where you, like on the Yamahas and others, when you put those in like that, always put Loctite on them. Or that's what'll happen to them. All right, looks like we need to take this one off. Maybe I should pull that spring first. This is another one that you'd want to put a little Loctite on. These are, they're really not a big difference from other models. Just enough so that, yep, we've got a big thick spacer right there. Almost didn't see that. Probably just enough difference to keep, the other companies from saying, hey, what are you doing? Now this is what I was talking about coming through the case. A lot of times these are bent too. See, there's still something dragging on it a little bit. It's probably bent. Yeah, but at least we took care of all what was going to really eat on it there. I think you can see it now. Yeah, I can see it's bent a little bit from when it got wrecked probably. And we've got a washer behind that one. So we'll just go ahead and grab that and stick it on the shaft. Okay. I think all this is probably going to be in that case when we take it apart. So the Kickstarter and everything will, now would be the time to take that out. If I don't have a Kickstarter, but it might be the same as something else. Probably should go ahead and take the rotary valve out at this time. We've got a spacer in the seal here, and then this cover. So let me go ahead and we'll start taking that off. Okay. All right, I got all those out. Let's see here if we can you've got a pin here. I guess that's the only one, so you just got to find a place to kind of get under it, just like that. There we go. So that's your alignment pin right here. So here's your seal for this side, right there and right here. That's what's going to seal the rotary valve side. Okay, we've got a little dot right there. Okay, here's our alignment. You've got a little square dimple right here. And then here's your alignment on the rotary valve. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. Okay, let's take a look at this again. Get you up here close. All right. These rotary valves are always timed, so you want to watch for that. I don't know how good you're going to be able to see it, but we've got a kind of a little square dimple right here, and then we've got this one right here on the rotary valve itself. So those need to be in line, and I believe this piece here is going to come out of there. There's probably an O-ring that's holding it. Oh, there it is. Okay. See, it's got a keyway, and that keyway will fit over that pin right there. Okay, that rotary valve is kind of loose there, but it's probably got a suction. It's gonna try to keep me from getting it off of there. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a suction under it. Let's see if I can gently lift it up here. There. Okay. And it just kind of creates a suction, and this flange area goes down between the oil and the part. That's all it is. Just be careful. Don't pry hard. If it doesn't want to come, don't force it. Another thing that we may need to do, let me get you on the other camera. Yeah, another thing we may want to do is go ahead and loosen these two, because at some point this drum's got to come out of there, and it's easier to loosen those now than it will be when we've got it halfway apart. I'm going to leave them in there, but at least they're loose. Okay, so I can get that bracket out of there, that hole down. We've got a little bit of discoloration here, but I don't think that'll hurt anything. It'll probably disappear pretty quick after you start it up. I don't feel anything. It's probably like mouse pee or something like that got in there. Who knows? Now I don't know whether that pin is going to come out of there or not. That's something we need to think about, because if it does and we lose it, then we've got a problem. Okay, yep, it sure is. Okay, so kind of try to be observant. Okay, so this looks, I think we're done here, so we'll flip it over and start pulling screws out on the other side, and then we can take it off the stand and try to split it. Okay, just like normal, got some screws in there we need to bust loose. These look like they've been loosened before. They're not in bad shape, but they're not pristine, they're not new. Okay, when I flipped it over, I lost one pin. This is the one that's got the shoulder on it off of here. So those are going to be wanting to come out. So we'll just go ahead and remove them. That one goes, I'm going to mark that, I think. Let's put some paint on it for now. That's the one that come on, let's get some paint out here. Okay, that should do it. That's the one that gets the one with a shoulder on it. Okay, just little things like that. You know, I just turned it over and that one fell out. And now I think I've got all these loosened, so I can just go through here and I'll leave a couple in to take off the stand. And I believe Greg's telling me that he has a new one of these. Have new, he says. He's about a very, he's just really got everything together on these things. It's going to make it so easy. Okay, I'm not going to be able to use a puller probably. I might be able to just put something on there, a flat piece, and run my puller. I don't know. Let me just pop this a little bit, see if it'll come apart. Okay, yeah, easy peasy. See, we've got a gap here, so I may not need to pull it. Yeah, it looks like it's going to come apart. Let me get you overhead, see if that's any better. Okay, maybe that's a little better for you. Get you out of my way here too. I'm hoping everything is going to go into the right case. I believe it is. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. It's kind of pulled some of it out from this side though. There we go. Okay, I've got a couple gears here that dropped, so that one is going to go here. You see the alignment dowels there, and that's where the shim goes. Okay, so when you're taking them apart, no matter what they are, oh, what in the world is that? Look at that. It's bondo. Evidently there's a hole that's busted. Yeah, I can see it there. They kept shoving bondo in there until it come out. Come out the inside. Not good, dude. I'm surprised it didn't interfere with something. That would have been right here. Never seen that. Yeah, that's just bondo. Yeah, I have a pretty good size hole in it. We've got some elastomeric there that they probably were using at some point to block it off too. There again, you know, kids, you're just trying, you want to ride. Fix it, Dad, so I can go. And that's what they end up doing. Okay, there's got a lot of, but that's normal stuff. That's normal to have all those filings and stuff over the years locate down there. That's just oil and dirt and metal filings. And here's our seal. Looks like we've got an internal snap ring that you oh, that's probably the bearing. No, the bearing's on here. Bearing's on the crank still. Okay, so the external flywheel, or internal snap ring, and you can see here that at the gap, that's where your oil hole is coming right through here. So you want to place that gap where that hole is. Here's our seal, pretty hard. Those bearings seem pretty good. So we've still got a spacer there. That's a pretty hard seal too. Okay, so this is probably the neutral safety. Looks like the chains hit it and bent the screws. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to, yeah, that one's pretty bent too. And he's, I think, telling me here that he's got a new one of these, so. It's pretty beat up. And that, actually it's probably the detent. I haven't run into that yet, so that's probably what that is. Unless this, maybe this had a neutral safety, but I think all it does is just, this piece goes right here. You got the pin, and this goes inside, so that locates it. So that's probably for neutral safety, but this pin is bent. I don't know why I say neutral safety for your neutral switch. I'm used to neutral safety switches on cars. And I see we've got, is this an O-ring or is this a spring? Yeah, it's an O-ring. Okay, so we've got an O-ring that goes in before you put the seal in on the countershaft. So that's about all we can glean from this case. And we've got all our bondo stuff there. Four-speed. As of right now, I don't see any broken ones. And it looks like the kicker works on the inside here, so it's kind of like most of the Suzuki's if you need to replace anything on the kicker, you got to split the cases. That's one thing I don't like about the Suzuki's. Okay, let's see if this crank will come on out. Yeah, just tap it a little bit. And you don't want to put them in that way. Okay, it's tapered over here. I think most of the rotary valves are tapered. So to get the fuel through there, this bearing over here feels pretty good. All right, I see here also that we've got a shim on the clutch side. That's kind of normal. That's where they should be, because when you tighten that nut up for the primary gear, it's going to pull it completely to that side. It just shims over here are just they're just eye candy, if anything, because it can't go that way. But you can see there now the rust that's on that crankshaft, and of course the where they cut the snout off. Bummer, because it's looking pretty good. I don't see any moisture in here. This is oiled up very nice. No play. The top end bearing throw looks good. So I don't know, maybe he's got another one. You know, if you don't find moisture in there, if they feel good, you know, especially on a little bike like this, it doesn't get a lot of, you know, terrible thrashing. Of course, kids thrash them pretty good. Let me tell you that. Okay, over here we've got a snap ring going into where but this is a different type of snap ring. It's the normal type. And I'm seeing here, I guess, is where this gets fed oil from the rotary valve. Those are really nice bearings. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull the retainer off on this side, the screws that we loosened on the drum. Okay, so that's the drum retainer. Now I'm assuming most of this will come out pretty easy. We've got the one shim here on the clutch shaft. Alright, we'll watch back here. Make sure we've got, if we have shims. There we go. Okay, we've got one shim right here on the countershaft and one on the clutch shaft on this side. Now this is what I think was hanging me up, getting that clutch off of there. Yeah, see, it just kind of came up there, and for whatever reason, There's something on the shaft or something on, I think it's inside here. I believe there's a bushing in there. But that seems to be what was hanging me up. It's a big drum for a little machine. The bearings are in really good shape. They just all turn so freely and don't make any noise. And I'm going to have to figure out what the deal is with the kicker. How that's supposed to come out. Let me contemplate that a little bit. Okay, it looks like, just like a lot of them are, you've got to remove this kind of collar, I guess. And then you can get to the spring to pull it out and unwind it. Okay, we've got, appears to be about 90 degrees that we preload. Then you can just pop the other end out down here in the slot. We've got a lot of stuff over here. I'm not sure what all this is about. Get the shaft through. I don't see a washer here. No. Okay, this is the pawl right here. Looks like it kind of sets like this and then drops in there like that. This is the pawl retainer evidently here. And we've got a little spring right here. It's a pretty fancy Kickstarter. A little more so than most. And we're a gasket here. I think he had all those made, sent them to K&S, K&L, I can't remember, K&S I think, and they made them for him. And from what I understand, they're available online now if you want to buy them on eBay. K&L I think it is, K&L gaskets. Well, that just about looks like we've got most of it tore down. In the gearbox, I'm not seeing anything with an issue so far, except for the case itself on this side, where we had all the bondo that pushed through. And I just wonder if I tap on it here. Yeah, there we go. So there's that hole. I think that's just automotive bondo. All right, guys. Disassembly of a Bridgestone 60. Just another look at the parts. Their hole right there. I don't know whether I get to weld that up or whether or not he's got another case. I think he's got some cases. I don't know what the deal is. And I can see in here where it's kind of got ridges built inside from spinning, I guess, on the shaft. I'm going to have to look at that a little more careful because it just doesn't want to, it's probably in this piece along with here. The shaft looks good. It's probably a hardened shaft, so that's not going to be the big issue. But the crank looked good, except for the snout. We can deal with all this. Actually, the seal area up here looks just fine. We can deal with all this, but I don't know what we're going to do here. If he's got another crank, then we can deal with it that way. If not, we may be repairing this one. Just depends. This all feels really good here. Looks good, feels good. No water in the crankcase. As you can tell with the bearings, they really just turn so smooth and no noise at all. So really it's just the crankshaft and the case. All these bearings turn pretty good too for not even being cleaned up yet. Awesome. It's a cool little engine. Okay guys, there you have it. Disassembly of the 60cc Bridgestone engine for the Rockford Tora. Really just straightforward. There's a few little things that are a little bit different. When you're taking off the nut on the primary side, always check that. Be gentle as you can, if you haven't been into one, because you don't know whether they're going to be left-hand or right-hand threads. So as you saw there, I tried the left hand, and it just didn't, or I mean the normal rotation, and it wouldn't budge. So I regrouped and tried it the other way, and it popped right loose. So just be aware of that on just about all the engines. You know, they can be either way. A lot of the Suzukis, like 125 RM, I don't think they are. The 250s are left-hand, and I believe the 400 was, but I can't remember on that one. But I believe the small Yamahas are normal rotation on those. But anyhow, just be aware of it, that it could be either way. Usually the other ones are not. That's the one you have to look for. It's really a shame on the crankshaft that was, it's not a game changer. I don't think. I like to have a lock washer on there, but it may not come off, but it just seemed like the threads were too short in the nut. So I think I would feel better if it was longer. Don't know what we're going to do there. We may do a repair. Like I said, I've done a few of those where I just cut that off flush with the taper, drill it, tap it, or press it in and pin it. There's all different ways. The only thing that thread does, hold flywheel on. So if it's a little bit crooked or something, it's not a game changer. You know, all it's doing is holding flywheel on. The rest of that looks good. I think we can get some sandpaper after it and take all that surface rust off. The seal area looks great. So other than that case, and we'll probably end up welding that unless he's got another one. But like I say, straightforward really for the most part, just some things a little bit different than the norm. So hey, Merry Christmas. Thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.